Hello and welcome to the 2016 Antrim International Cross-Country. A little bit wet underfoot for the athletes. It promises to be an outstanding couple of races in the seniors category. In the men's, Thomas Ayeko, defending champion, also the winner in 2013. He'll be challenged by the double European junior champion, Yemen Cripper of Italy. And in the women's section, even more to look forward to. Last year's winner, Bertkan Fenty Lemu, will go up against Mimi Belete, who won it the previous year in 2014. We've also got Fionnuala McCormack, who won here a couple of times in the past, up against Kate Avery, who beat her by 4 seconds in the Great Edinburgh 6-kilometre run last weekend. It promises to be an outstanding race in what is an Olympic year nonetheless. Let's join our commentary team of Dick Cooper and first, Will Downing.
With the move back to January, weather conditions will be very interesting indeed. -6 Celsius last night, lots of snow and sleet, lots of ice to greet the athletes this morning. And as you'll see, a bit of ice and rain as well. Some very talented African athletes in the field for this senior women's race over 5,600 metres. Fionnuala McCormack, twice European cross-country champion, twice Antrim champion, looking for a third crown here. Wearing number 1 is Kerry O'Flaherty of Newcastle District, representing Northern Ireland. 25, Kate Avery you saw there going through, who won a week ago in Edinburgh. It is a very, very strong field. A dozen brilliant international class athletes who have won major titles before. Aprot of Kenya, Billionis Ologira of Ethiopia, Mimi Belete of Bahrain, who won here before, wearing 24 with the hat on. So away we go, the 2016 senior women's race in Antrim is here. Kerry O'Flaherty wearing 1, but the ones to watch out for Aprot of Kenya, from Bahrain, Ruth Jabet, Mimi Belete, from Britain, Kate Avery with that victory last week, from Belgium, the European Under-23 champion in the grey, Louise Carton, Fionnuala McCormack of Ireland, running under her married name, and you can't miss her in the multicoloured singlet, and she's hitting the front very early on in the opening lap, and alongside her, Kate Avery, and they were the top 2 last week in Edinburgh.
Really strong field here today, Will. The Africans, amazing how they can cope so well with conditions like this. It's really raw here today, and the conditions underfoot are really going to test them and be tough, but they've never been found wanting in the past. Lovely mix of Europeans in there as well. I like the look of the under-23 champion from Belgium, and Kate Avery's here, of course, and then our own Fionnuala McCormack, who's been running so well of late.
Well, we have the last 4 winners here. Mimi Belete wearing 24, leading the way is Billionis Ologira, bronze medalist in the 10,000 metres in Moscow in 2013. We also have the defending champion wearing 22, Bertkan Fenty Lemu of Ethiopia, the 2015 winner when it was held in March, and the fields were a little lower, splashing through the country course into the countryside just outside the forest. Carton in the grey, tucked alongside nicely around 7th or 8th. Avery working very hard. European team gold for Great Britain 2014 and 2015. Fionnuala Britain, McCormack is one of those as well, and Avery just struggling to keep up. It's this famous hill right at the back of the course at Greenmount, and it has tested the best in the past and will test the best today. Coming through wearing 2, Rebecca Henderson of Dromore, representing Northern Ireland. 70 is Natalie Hall of Acorns, who've got a very strong team here. And Nevo Sullivan of Rioch going through as well, but now heading back towards the back of the course. 4 breaking away. It's Mimi Belete, it's Avery, it's McCormack, and wearing 20, Ruth Jabet, the 19-year-old world junior champion and Asian champion at the moment in the 3,000 steeplechase.
Yeah, Kate Avery is running very well. Obviously, she had the victory there last week over Fionnuala. But I just noticed when she was going through the muck, she looked by far the least comfortable. You can see her arms flapping, and she looks almost a little bit panicky when they hit the messy, mucky parts. The Africans far smoother, and of course Fionnuala relishing it as she always does. She loves the mud.
Avery definitely prefers firmer ground. I think we know that. McCormack leading, coming towards the end of the opening lap, and that will certainly cheer up the home support here. Normally we get magnificent crowds, but I have to tell you it's been very, very cold. -6 in Belfast overnight. Avery still controlling things well in 5th place. Aprot of Kenya the African Games 10,000 metres champion. She was supposed to be the pace setter for the rest of her team. Well, she set the pace all right. She won the gold medal. Belete, much medalled herself, and a winner here. McCormack has won here twice. Avery, twice now a silver medalist in the European cross-country, taking the team gold. Jabet, Bellionish Algira wearing 18. Great South Run winner in 2014 in Portsmouth. That's a really strong field. Louis Small you'll see coming behind wearing 43. 7th place at the moment. Carton, the European under-23 champion from Belgium, is in 8th place.
Yeah, Oliera was actually the bronze medalist in the 10,000 metres in Moscow as well, so she's a very fine athlete. She was struggling to hang on to the back of the pack there, and once again we saw Kate Avery struggle a little bit in the muck. McCormack is absolutely full of running. She's running so well. She looks really strong this winter, and the marathon training which she did last year for the Chicago Marathon has actually benefited her, and you can see how strong and full of running she is. That's Shona Heaslip, number 643. Her coach Niamh O'Sullivan is further back the field, and Kerry O'Flaherty was with Shona there.
And we saw Roseanne Galligan there too. It was interesting to see how far back the defending champion Bertakan Fente-Alemu was, but it's 6 ahead of the rest right now. 2 Europeans and 4 representing either Africa or Bahrain. The Bahraini athletes being Mimi Belete and Ruth Jabet. But at the moment, McCormack and Avery are holding their own. And just look at the way how Fionnuala just went way, way out on the outside. This is Fente-Alemu, who's struggling at the moment down around 9th, 10th place as she makes her way up the hill. Roseanne Galligan going up with her, and Kerry O'Flaherty too. And wearing 309, this is Rachel Dunn of Edinburgh in around 15th place.
Yeah, McCormack is hanging in there nicely. She is a master, or a mistress, let's say, of the muck. She just controls herself so well. She seeks out the better running parts, and she's totally in control, totally confident. I'd say she's thinking these conditions are for me here today. The danger is as it cuts up that it gets exceptionally slippy and more difficult to control from that perspective. But we see there now Alice Aprot beginning to stretch it out there, loving the running that's on the firm ground and on that part of the course. But she too is doing pretty good in the muck. Obviously she is if she's winning the race, but she's not as upset as some of her compatriots when they hit the muck.
Well, look at how spread out the top 5 are now. It's Aprot who leads, Jabet in 2nd place, Mimi Belete in 3rd, Fionnuala McCormack and Kate Avery are fighting back in 4th and 5th, and the rest are around 100 metres back. That's Algira for Ethiopia, Louise Carton for Belgium, and we've seen quite a bit of Louise Small and Claire Duck representing England here today, with Fente-Alemu back in 10th place.
I tell you one thing, Aprot is stretching out the field here. There's gaps of 15 metres between the first 5 girls. Fionnuala is going to have to really dig in here to hang on. She is running well, but the girls are putting the pressure on ahead of her. Maybe now as we hit the muckier patches, we'll see them all come back into a pack again, and Fionnuala can use that great strength and that great know-how that she has in the muck, because running through the muck is an art in itself.
Well, you can see how spread out the field are and how far in front Alice Aprot is at the moment, with Belete and Jabet in 2nd and 3rd, and Fionnuala McCormack fighting hard to hold on 4th place at the moment. The home supporters here for the twice European cross-country champion, and of course she's had success at European indoors as well in Gothenburg, where she won a bronze a couple of years ago. Look at the gap between the leader and the next 4, and McCormack is outside of the podium positions at the moment. Can she fight back in 4th place? Avery is just over her shoulder.
Yeah, Aprot has made a very significant move there. You'd have to say it looks like a winning move. Be interesting to see, can she sustain it? What could happen is that when she hits the mucky patch, there may be problems ahead. Fionnuala now is powering away from Avery, and as she goes through the muck, she gets better than Avery. Avery is definitely uncomfortable with these conditions.
Well, Louise Carton, who did so marvellously in Toulon hier, the European under-23 champion from Belgium, floating around 7th or 8th place at the moment. This is Sarah Inglis coming in on the outside and overtaking the defending champion Bertakan Fente-Alemu. Inglis representing Scotland, but a huge gap for Alice Aprot at the moment. Now she's starting lapping athletes here. She has a lead of around 60 or 70 metres. Our head-on shot certainly shortens that. Heading towards the final half of the race, and Aprot, oh, she's not comfortable anymore. She's gone down, and she's taken out a little bit of the rigging.
And that just shows you the disaster that can beckon if you lose any bit of concentration there at all. Fionnuala nearly went herself, so it's really treacherous there at the moment. Alice Aprot did very well to recover there, but she did lose about 5 or 6 seconds in that whole area where she was trying to pick up momentum again. So the door is open maybe for the chasing pack.
Carton and Louis Small going up the hill also.
Our leader.
Here's Alice Aprot
19.
well in front, beginning to lap a whole lot of Acorns AC athletes. 31-24 she won the African Games title. Second place Belete, third McCormack.
Yeah, Belete has seen a ray of hope there with Alice, and she's probably thinking, well, if she fell once, if she slipped once, if she got upset, then the door will open and I have a chance again. Similarly, Fionnuala is running strongly again in third place. She's looking eyes only on the back of Belete. This is a good race. This isn't over yet. I do like Alice when she's out on the hard surface. She looks magnificent there, lovely rangy athlete. But when she hits the muck, it's anybody's situation.
This has been an excellent race, and it is going to be won by Alice Aprot into the closing straight now at Green Mountain, Antrim. Mimi Belete certainly took 10 seconds out of her when Aprot fell, but Alice Aprot is going to win for Kenya the African Games 10,000 metres champion, her first run here, and she takes the title in Green Mountain 2016. Mimi Belete in second place. Fionnuala McCormack will be third for Ireland, and fourth will be Kate Avery, with Jabet in fifth. I can tell you Alice Aprot has fallen over the line and will get a bit of attention. Belete in second place, but McCormack should be happy with third.
Oh, that's a great run by Alice. In fairness, she took a bit of a toss there coming up that hill, so that was hard on her, but she knew she wanted to win and she got up there and toughed it out to the end. Good run by Fionnuala as well. She'll be very pleased to beat Kate Avery after last week.
Yeah, Jabet finished fifth, Algira sixth, Louise Carton seventh, Louis Small eighth, and we've seen Claire Duck come through the line in ninth place. And the defending champion, Fense Lamu, finishing in 10th, surprisingly. Kerry O'Flaherty, the first Northern Ireland athlete home, in 11th. Sarah Inglis, 12th for Scotland. And 13th over the line. Good to see Roseanne Galligan back in action again. First time in something like 11 years she's competed in this, and the last time she was in this event, it was held in Mollusk.
She survived a major slip-up in the final lap with the back of the course, and Alice Aprot is the 2016 Women's Antrim Cross-Country champion. Very tight margin of victory in the end for her, a real sprint finish between the top four. Alice Aprot winning, 4 seconds clear of Bahrain's Mimi Belete, the former champion. Fionnuala McCormack, who's won this twice before, in third place.
Alice, happy with that?
Today I'm happy because the race was very competitive, despite the big names, also the one from Ethiopia, and also the European, the British, yeah. And I'm happy. Also, the course was the weather was very conducive, and also mud. Yeah.
How difficult was it out there in these conditions?
Was very difficult because of the mud, and also the weather was very conducive for me.
And what's up next for you?
Sorry?
What's next?
Next I'm going back to Kenya and to prepare for the track season.
Fionnuala, after last week finishing second just by 4 seconds, and you've come in third today, perhaps the results weren't there, but how do you feel it's gone as far as the season progression goes?
Yeah, I suppose coming fourth in Europeans was tough because you don't make the podium. Second last week, it's like one more spot and you've won, so it's kind of strange, but in a way to make the podium this week is good because it means it's not one place off where I wanted to be. I didn't really know what to expect here, but like it was tough cross country and I kind of enjoyed it.
You gave yourself every opportunity though, because you were right there or thereabouts with heading into that last lap.
Yeah, and like it was very kind of up and down because every time you came to a bend there was it wasn't exactly elbows being thrown, but it was people trying to get out of each other's way and you were sliding down banks and into muck and up hills and stuff like that, so it was kind of, if you're in front it was really easier in a way because you could get a better line, but then when you're in front then you could easily slip back, so it was, yeah. Just
give us an idea of the conditions, because for people who are watching at home, how difficult is it?
Yeah, it's slippy, it's freezing, but I think like compared to last week everyone said Edinburgh was going to be very mucky, tough course, but this was much muckier, so more fun as well, I think.
An important year ahead as well?
Yeah, it's a big year. Every time it's Olympics, it becomes a big year in January, which is funny because we always have championships every year. But you kind of get used to it, I suppose, over the years. And yeah, you've got to aim for something in August. But at the moment, you're focusing on what you're doing at the moment. So,
Just finally, though, how difficult is it going from these type of conditions to the track, for example?
yeah, I suppose you don't really go straight from one to the other. Like, you don't go from racing here this week usually until like next week racing on the track. So you kind of build up to it, and the weather gets better. And by the time you come around to run on the track, it feels like cross country was years ago. So.
The footing at Edinburgh was a lot better than it was here, even though it maybe didn't look that way. But yeah, Edinburgh was definitely firmer. I got beat by some good girls out there today. It was just, I think I performed well. I just couldn't get the footing right down the far part of the course. I haven't really raced Fionnuala too much. But yeah, no, she's a great competitor.
Quick assessment of your race today overall, satisfactory?
Yeah, no, I'm pleased with how I performed. You always want to be higher up, but I'm pleased with how I ran.
And the season's been quite spectacular for you so far, encouraging.
No, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm happy with how it's going so far.
How does cross-country help with Rio on the horizon?
Something you do every season, you just use it, I guess, to get strong. And I do enjoy doing it, that's why I keep doing it year on year.
Looking at the course this morning when I was warming up round it, it seemed like a really tough and muddy course. But when I got into it, I felt really, really strong, and I really surprised myself actually working through those tough, muddy sections. I felt strong and I was able to get through them fast, keeping the tempo up.
Have you been impressed with your own progression as the season's gone through?
I have done now. Just after the Eurocross, I didn't feel so well. I picked up a bit of a flu, and I thought I was feeling a little bit flat. So I suppose the confidence went a tiny wee bit. But you know, I was determined to get stuck into today, and you know I did. And I think with it being a shorter course, you know, Eurocross is 8k, maybe a little bit long for me. But you know, it's been good. Having that over the winter.
Not really comparable to steeplechase, though, is it?
No, but I think working with my hurdles coach Tom Reynolds and working with my coach Richard Rogers with my endurance, those two have married very well. So overall, I think I'm a stronger athlete now, and I think, you know, cross country for steeplechasers, you know, there was 2 of us on the team for the Eurocross, which was great. And I think overall, you know, working over hurdles and things like that. You know, you've got sort of stronger glutes, stronger hips, and you know, I proved today that work has helped me on the country.
And you were testing yourself against a very good field.
Yeah, it was a world-class field today. You know, I think 2010 I was about 21st. So today I don't think it quite made the top 10. I think it was 11th there today, but I'm really, really pleased with that.
Thanks, Kate.
So now the IAAF Women's Junior Race. So this is the under-20 age group, but it also features an under-17 race as well. And coming to the fore, by the way, just on the inside wearing the green singlet is Olivia Nelson of City of Lisburn. She's in the Ireland development squad. She could be one to watch, but in terms of those else at the fore representing the north of England, they're in the yellow singlet, the likes of Katrina Thomas, Philippa Stone, Rosie Johnson and Molly Williams. We've got Sophie Burnett of Bertley, Georgia Fear of Highgate, and Bertley colleagues Amber Lee and Daniel Coulson. They're very well represented here as the rain comes down in Greenmount. There was quite a bit of snow the past few days, bit of a stumble at the front as well, but they've all managed to stay up and keep going. It's not the most pleasant day to be a teenage athlete running around about 0 degrees Celsius, but they'll do their best to keep warm and doing it fast. It was Georgia Fair, and I did fear for a while that she was going to stumble and lose control, but she kept her balance. 29 is Rosie Johnson from the north of England. 28, Molly Williams, the 18-year-old from Stockport, who's the Greater Manchester champion, and quite a few coming through, as you can see, from Dundrum, South Dublin, the grey singlet, but it's athletes from the north of England who are dominating here, and leading the way is Rosie Johnson. Ahead of 27, Katrina Thomas, 28, Molly Williams, and in the black is Georgia Fear of Highgate.
Yeah, it's important to note that there's 2 fields mixed together here today, Will. There's an under-20 race and an under-17 race, and they've made the sensible decision to put all the girls together in the one race, which provides good competition all round. And we've a very good, strong group from the north of England here, led by Molly Williams and Rosie Johnson and Katrina Thomas, and they're going to put it up to the rest. The Irish have a development squad in it, mostly under 17. Edel Monaghan perhaps the best of them. But it's good experience and good to see a decent sized field here.
Well, it's a decent sized lead for Rosie Johnson at the moment from a North of England colleague, Molly Williams, who's coming through in second place, and then that pack of four being led by Georgia Fear of Highgate. Two more athletes in the North of England there, and Katrina Thomas and Philippa Stone, and in between them for Berkeley AC in the blue singlet is Sophie Burnett. But Rosie Johnson has gone out very strong early on here, and can the North of England athlete keep this going?
The smart money actually was on Molly Williams before the race, but Rosie Johnson's putting it up to her here today. So they're teammates. They're obviously well used to running against each other. So it'll be interesting to see how this evolves. But Rosie has certainly got a bit of a lead there at the moment.
Yeah, she's from Liverpool, Pembroke Sefton, the 18-year-old representing Merseyside, and it's a good advantage that she holds over her teammate from Stockport and Greater Manchester, Molly Williams. Williams with 10 minutes, 10 seconds, 3,000 metres to her name, and she's maintaining the advantage over the remaining four who make up the top six. Just falling back a little bit now is Katrina Thomas for the North of England, and then emerging just behind another Berkeley singlet, it looks like Amber Lee. Olivia Nelson will be moving up also for the Island Development Squad from the city of Lisburn, but as they go through the forest section right at the back of the course, the far end of the course, quite close to Belfast International Airport, George Best Airport being the one in the city, it is Rosie Johnson still leading.
I have to say that Molly in second place looks a little bit more comfortable in the conditions. Rosie doesn't look like she's relishing it. She's not lashing into them, whereas Molly is a little bit more aggressive about the entire thing. So this race is far from over, I would think. Look at the way Molly is powering up that hill there now. And the chasing three after them are not out of it either.
Yeah, moving away up is Georgia Fear in third place and Sophie Burnett in fourth, but Williams has now overtaken Johnson in the 300 metres or so where they were hidden away from our cameras. Now, did Rosie Johnson go too early? Molly Williams has put the foot down, looks a lot more comfortable, and that lead is growing all the time.
Yeah, she made all the right moves there. She stayed off the pace. She realised Rosie maybe was being a bit too aggressive early on. The muck does sap you, the gaps do open, but Molly was always looked like she was relishing the conditions. Relishing is important when you're ploughing through muck, and she looked like she was enjoying them, whereas Rosie was slightly struggling despite the fact that she was running very well.
Well, it was looking very rosy for Rosie for a while, but good golly, it's Molly Williams who will come through to win for the North of England. 13 minutes 6 seconds, and that's a very good margin of victory in the end. Around 15 seconds clear she'll be of Rosie Johnson in second place. Georgia Fear is going to take third for Highgate, with Sophie Burnett in fourth place, and behind them Philippa Stone in fifth for the North of England, and sixth will be Katrina Thomas. She comes into view now, the rest quite a bit back. Now, a good break being made here by Olivia Nelson behind Katrina Thomas, and she's going to win the under-17 race. Olivia Nelson, who is the Ulster Schools champion over 1,500 metres. She was fourth in the All-Ireland Schools in Tullamore back in June. She takes the under-17 victory, and she is seventh overall in this race. Edel Monaghan of Enniskillen, who was seventh in the schools 1,500 behind Olivia Nelson. Here she is coming through, second in the under-17.
Yeah, and it's got to be remembered that the two of those girls have given the other girls 3 years in age, which is a lot at that stage of development. So really good run there by Olivia Nelson to win the under-17 race. Molly, of course, was a very effective winner of the under-20.
So here's our IAAF Women's Junior winner. It is Molly Williams for the North of England from Stockport in Greater Manchester. Rosie Johnson in second place and Georgia Fear third.
Molly, that was a pretty decent second lap from you. Tell us about the conditions out there.
Well, it's quite muddy out there, but I thought it was going to be so short because I'm used to the longer distances, so I was really pleased. I felt really strong on the second lap and then just caught Rosie up the hill, so just kept going.
Was that the plan, to try and stay with her there and really bring yourself home?
Well, once she got away, I thought, I'll try and push, but see what happens. But then on the second lap, and I could see I was getting closer to her, I thought, oh, I might have this in sight. So when I came up the hill, I just powered off the hill and went for it.
And your team as a whole working really well together.
Did really well. Like Rosie was second, and then Philippa and Katrina weren't far behind. So yeah, it was good.
Olivia Nelson taking the under-17 girls race for the Ireland Development Squad ahead of Adele Monaghan of Enniskillen in second and Megan Bone of Cardiff in third. Absolutely sensational, and that sums up the performance of Thomas Ayeko today, who's going to win the Antrim International Cross-Country for the second time in 3 years. It's good to be back. Thomas Ayeko, a winner again. Edwin Soy is going to take the silver here. Yaman Kripa comes to Antrim, having successfully defended his junior title at the European Cross Country Championships in Toulon before Christmas. Lots of great African talent, some of whom have won here before. Thomas Ayeko wearing 15, the champion from 2013 and 2015. Again, a field of around 150 here.
We're doing a whistle, okay? On your marks!
So the senior men's race is on. Thomas Ayeko will have quite a battle to make it 3 wins in 4 years here. Aweke Ayalu, wearing 9, reached the final in Beijing, the 10,000 metres, finished 21st in that, 2 minutes behind Mo Farah. Timothy Cheriot of Kenya. It's his cross-country debut, but he reached the final of the 1,500 metres of the World Championships in Beijing and finished 7th. David Walda of Ethiopia wearing 16, World Youth Championship bronze medalist in 2007. Emmanuel Bett has been very successful here in the past, has been a podium finisher. Some very talented athletes. And from Bahrain, Evans Chematot wearing 12 might be one to watch as well, but just look at the ominous appearance of 3-4 athletes from Africa and the Middle East converging around the front, and the rest know that they will have quite a battle, and you can include Kripa in that as well.
Yeah, I'd be very interested to see how Kripa does today. I've seen him win his last 2 European Junior Cross-Country Championships, and this year in particular he was absolutely magnificent, tore the field apart. He's a real class act. Now he's in against some serious talent here today with the African entourage in there and some very good English athletes, but Kripa is one for the future, all right, or the present, when you think that he's got his 2 titles, junior titles under his belt. But as I say, these conditions are totally different and I'd imagine total alien to what he's used to.
So leading the way, a defending champion wearing 15, Thomas Ayeko. He's in the purple. Just behind him, wearing 9, is Aweke Ayalo. He's in the purple. Alongside him, number 12, Evans Chematot. He's in the purple. They don't seem to make any other colour for singlets these days. But Dawit Walde, Timothy Cheriot to the 4 as well. Oh, and they're wearing purple as well as they make their way up the hill for the first time. And stumbles all over the place. Kripa, by the way, moving his way up in around 10th place at the moment. And thankfully, distinguishing himself with a different colour. It's Ayeko who leads. In second place, it's Ayalo. Then it's Timothy Cheriot, his cross-country debut. But his performances in Beijing, he went through the rounds. There's Kripa coming through in around 12th to 13th place in the Policia singlet. And just behind him was Owain Jones of Wales. But 6 athletes from Africa and the Middle East to the forefront. And I think that's how we're expecting it to finish as well.
Yeah, you know, you have to say that it's a pity that the Irish don't really support this. The better runners, the Mick Clohessys, the Paul Pollocks, the Kevin Seawards, John Coughlin's and all these, you could ask, where are they now? I think what's really happening in the Irish and probably the UK cross-country scene is that cross-country now has become a pre-Christmas sport. The European Cross-Country Championships have become the be-all and end-all. Terrible to say, but the African domination has killed the European interest in the World Championships. So the UK and Irish cross-country season tends to take place in the period of time between October and December. So now you've got the Clohessys and the Pollocks and the Seawards. They're off preparing for spring marathons and their mind is in a different focus. John Coughlin's gone off running indoor. So they're not around for the cross-country, and it does weaken this field. Now these are beautiful athletes to watch. It's a tremendous sight to see such grace and such power, but wouldn't it be nice to see a little bit of Irish interest in there?
Well, there's quite a bit of English interest coming through at the moment. Jonathan Hay is 41, Adam Hickey wearing 40. A couple of Scots and Andrew Douglas and Luke Caldwell making their way through as well. This is Owain Jones of Wales, Bristol,
West AC, 247 from Dundrum, South Dublin. Very familiar singlet, Killian Mooney inside the top 20. Then quite a few Northern Ireland athletes. Declan Reid of City of Derry, Mark McKinstry, North Belfast Harriers, Conor McCaughey of Derry City Track Club, Seamus Lynch of Newcastle and District, Paddy Hamilton of Slieve Gullion Runners. They're in the top 25 at the moment. It certainly has been weakened from a European point of view. It's Ayeko who's leading the way. Just alongside and wearing 9 is Aweke Ayalu, a new name for us in Antrim, and you'll notice he's just gone way out on the outside as Dawit Walde and Chariot decided to plough right through the mud in the middle, and it's these 4 now breaking away. Significant break. Emmanuel Bettas pushed back, so too has Evans Chematot. Andrew Butchat of Scotland fighting hard to make his way into the top 6. And then the best of English just behind, and wearing the yellow for Chichester Runners is Christopher Zablocki. Cripp is there as well at the back of that group. But the top 4 at the moment, Ayalu, Ayeko, Chariot and Walde, Bahrain, Uganda, Kenya and Ethiopia respectively, and Emmanuel Bat wearing 10 for Kenya in 5th place, and now in 6th for Scotland is Andrew Butchat with Evans Chematot of Bahrain in 7th place, and leading the next group is Zablocki of England alongside Hay, Douglas, Caldwell, Adam Hickey too.
Yeah, UK got 3rd in the recent European Senior Cross-Country Championships behind Spain and France, so they would be the 3rd ranked around, so you would expect a bunch of the British runners to be in there competitive, but you can see how far back they are on this African entourage, who are totally dominating the race, looking totally comfortable in these conditions. Just notice around the back there when they do hit that particularly mucky corner how they're all learning now to run a bit wide, because if you try to cut it in any way tight you seem to risk falling, so they're all getting a bit cuter as the day goes on.
They've dropped Dawit Walde, the 2012 London Olympian, the World Youth Championship bronze medalist from 2007, the 24-year-old Ethiopian. So it's between Ayalu wearing 9, our champion from last year, Ayeko wearing 15, Chariot wearing 13 in his cross-country debut. Then comes Dawit Walde. The other athlete you see coming through has already been lapped and he's making his way to the outside to make sure that the rest don't career into him. It's Bet in 5th place and it's Butchat in 6th. But it's quite pertinent what you're saying. A lot of European nations simply don't concentrate on what is now a 2-yearly World Cross Country Championship, and they do put all their eggs in the basket in the pre-Christmas European Cross Country, which has really blossomed into an excellent event.
Yeah, it's a fantastic event, and as I said, it's the highlight of a European athlete's year now. Of course, people will say, isn't it a pity? Are they psyched out from competing on a world basis? But you know, you got to go with the flow. You've got to recognise that times have changed, and people want to have variety in their season. So it's only fair. Have your track season, have your cross-country season, have your road season, and then off we go again with the track. So the cross-country was probably too long in the past, if you think of it. If it started in October and finished in March, that was total domination really, and really went on too long. So I like the idea of the shorter cross-country season, I have to say. More or less follows the American model. The kids, when they go back to college there in August, September, are thrown straight into a cross-country season that ends at the end of November, and they rest up and then they go indoor track, outdoor track.
Well, it is cold, but I think we've just seen someone who's been in colder climes. So it's Ayalu who doesn't have an inside shirt. It's Ayeko who's wearing the same orange shirt. I remember him winning it last year. And Chariot is wearing the yellow shirt. Good crowds as always here at Greenmount, this agricultural college campus right by Belfast International Airport, formerly Aldergrove. And now the lap runners. Nice shimmy by Ayeko on the outside. A little look over his shoulder. In 2nd place is Ayalu. Chariot there as well as they go up the hill. They don't have to worry about this too many more times. But is it going to be Bahrain, Uganda or Kenya to take the honours this time?
It's a really good race. They all took that hill very well. They're all in good control, good running form. I wouldn't be prepared to put my house on any of these 3 boys at this point in time.
Well, it's a very good race to the front. And Ayalu making his way to top spot at the moment. Ayeko now on his shoulder, bit of a gap. Chariot falling back into third place. There could be a really great joust between these two for top spot and the gold medal in Antrim this year. Ayalo on the turn, entering into the final straight for Bahrain, and he's hit the front. It seems to be at the right time, but it's a real sprint. Ayalo leading, Ayeko in second place, and Chariot's in third. Who's going to take it in Antrim this year? Ayalo thinks he's got it, and he has. Aweke Ayalo gets the victory. The 22-year-old representing Bahrain wins in Antrim in 2016. Ayeko in second place, misses his third victory in 4 years, and Timothy Chariot in his cross-country debut is third. This is Dawit Walde of Ethiopia, who's coming through in fourth place, ahead of Kenya's Emmanuel Bett in fifth, and well done Andrew Butchart of Scotland, who'll come through in sixth.
Yeah, that's a really good run by Andrew Butchart, by far the best of the Europeans, and not too far off the Africans. I'd say he looks a real cross-country man, a type of guy who would relish those type of mucky conditions today. Well done, Andrew Butchart.
No challenge for Butchart really in sixth place. Our winner is already doing interviews as the rest come through, and it is Crippa, the double European Junior Cross Country champion, comes through in 13th place for Italy. But our winner, Aweke Ayalo, wins Antrim for the first time. Not quite one for everybody in the audience, but it's nice to get it.
So victory then for Aweke Ayalo of Bahrain, a new champion in Antrim, with Thomas Ayeko second and Timothy Chariot taking third.
Aweke, that was a very tough race.
Yeah, very tough race. It is good for me. I win, I'm happy today.
It was a fairly decent speed though. It was quick.
Yeah, it is good for me. Thank you.
What about the rest of the year? Talk us through the rest of your year.
Next race is I'm run to Rome. Run cross country. Then after that, Rio Olympic, I'm ready to track,
And how tough did you find the course today?
Today? Yeah, today is too much mud and cold, and that place is hill, So it is dangerous place. So I'm happy today.
Need a bit more.
Another large field for the IAAF junior men's race. Under 20, under 17s involved in this in their own race. And if you've been with us for quite a few years in coverage of the Antrim IAAF International Cross-Country, it's our 5th year covering it, and you might remember Ewan Gillam winning the under-17 race 2 years ago. If not, you'll presumably see a lot of him here. He's a Scot representing Kilbarcan AC. We also have another strong North of England team here, Emil Carris, Jonathan Shields, Harry Powell, Ewan Gilchrist. They're all wearing yellow, and look, they're all up at the front straight away. Also moving well from Clonliffe Harriers. They've sent a full bus here, by the way. Morton Games on again later on in the summer. Ewan Gillam leading 3.67. In second place, wearing 31, is Emil Carres. 3.10, Paula Surafel of Enfield and Haringey. Pretty sure this is his Antrim debut. The Ireland development squad wearing black. You saw Fintan Stewart, David McGlynn, Michael Power, Sean O'Leary, amongst others, go through there. But leading the way, right at the back of the course in the forest section, Ewan Gillam in front, Paolo Surafel in second place in the red of Enfield and Haringey, and doing his best to keep his balance as he went on the outside. And Brian Flanagan of Clonliffe Harriers, and also his teammate Cathal Doyle in the familiar black and orange, making the way through. Actually a whole cluster of Clonliffe athletes making the way through. Emil Carris and Jonathan Shields in third and fourth, but it's Surafel in second, and Ewan Gillam leading the way at the moment.
Yeah, a very strong looking individual. Remind you in some ways of Andy Vernon, the way he just carries himself there. Very strong for a junior, and he's really thrown down the gauntlet. He's gone off very hard, and it's a hard way to run a race. However, on a day like this, if you get a gap and it's mucky, it can be very difficult for the opposition to claw the gap back. That said, now, is it Paolo Surafel in second place? Is trying to make contact with Ewan so that he can get the benefit of the ride on his shoulder there, and he's actually taken him there, because I was about to say that Ewan is particularly aggressive and looks like a man who likes to have his nose in front all the time, but Paulos is putting it up to him there. Now Paulos would want to concentrate there, because you've got to be very careful when you're going through the muck and have your wits fully about you.
So Surafel leads, Gillam in second place, Carras in third, Shields in fourth, Bit of a gap then back to 5th. Harry Powell is there, and 4.88. That's Sol Sweeney of Perth Strathay Harriers now. He's under 17, so he's leading the under 17 race at the moment. And Gilchrist coming through also, but it's Gillam and Surafel stride for stride at the moment. Surafel making good ground in on the inside. Date for your diary, 7th of May is when the Belfast International track meeting is back at the Mary Peters track. And the 17th of February, the AIT International Grand Prix Indoors Cork City Sports is the 26th of June this year. And the Morton Games, run by Clonliffe Harriers, the 22nd of July. Wonderful to see any of these two here, Gillam and Surafel. Well, they've made sure they'll have the top 2 steps in the podium, but who's going where? Gillam in front at the moment.
Gillam in front there. He's a very low stride if you look at him, but he's exceptionally strong, exceptionally aggressive young man. This is a really good race between the two boys, and they're having a fair old battle. The muck is going to sort them out at some stage, and Ewan, if you want my tuppence halfpenny on it, he just has that carriage through the muck and that aggression through the muck that looks more lethal.
Well, we're watching Harry Powell doing battle at the moment with Sol Sweeney alongside each other. They are technically in separate races, and I suppose if we're mentioning great, excellent track meetings, there's a very good one in Letterkenny now that's growing and growing, and that's on later on in the summer. Now Gillam putting his foot down, and he doesn't care about the puddles and the mud. He's ploughing right through them, and he's ploughing through the field as well. Up the hill, Gillam goes. Surafel in 2nd place, and that's a huge margin. He's suddenly opened up out of nowhere.
He has, if you ask me, Paulo Surafel has given him the race. He's already looked over his shoulder 3 times in the last 100 metres, so he's settling for what he has, I think, at this point in time. And how encouraging that is to a leader when he knows that a guy like that is checking out 3rd instead of 1st place, and Ewan now on his way to victory.
2 years ago, he won the under-17 race. He won the British Cross Challenge. He's the schools champion in Scotland over 5,000 metres, and Ewan Gillam wins the IAAF junior race, the under-20 champion in Antrim. It's another gold medal for this very talented Scot. Surafel has a bit of a sprint to defend 2nd place. It's going to be silver for him. Look at his delight in that. Caress will be in 3rd from the north of England. Jonathan Shields is in 4th place. And Sol Sweeney is coming through overall in 5th place, and that wins him the under-17 title. Harry Powell in 5th overall. Brian Flanagan is 6th for Clonliffe.
Clonliffe are the national junior cross-country champions, so they've brought a fairly strong team, so they look like they have the numbers packed in there to actually win the team here today.
Craig McMahon of North Down 4.79 coming through in 2nd place in the under-17 boys race.
Come on, boys, come out.
You were an under-17 winner 2 years ago. You're making quite a habit of this.
Yeah, I know. I like the course. And it's a good time of year for my training schedule. Trying to get in some big races before the British Champs later on in the season.
And with 2 laps gone, Paulos was well on your shoulder. Was that the plan, to try and pull away with him at the end there?
Well, the plan was to try and pull away earlier on. And I did that for a bit, but he closed the gap. So I tried to settle for a bit, catch my breath and take another shot at it.
Just tell us about the conditions out there, because it looks very, very muddy.
Well, it's muddy. I had big spikes in. I knew it was going to be muddy. I mean, the ground was hard to begin with, but this isn't the first race of the day, so it's going to get churned up.
Tell us what's happening the rest of the season.
The rest of the season, I'll do the British Universities. It's my first year at uni. I do the British Champs, and I might do the British Inter-Counties. So a lot of British races.
What course are you doing at university?
Chemical engineering.
Good man, good luck with that.
Cheers, thanks.
And at junior level, the talent keeps coming through. And very much the case also at primary schools level. We had a whole load of underage races. This primary school girls in the middle of the day. And look for an early movement from Jodie McMullen of Saints and Scholars. She would take the victory by a second from Gracie Brown of Dundrum South Dublin, with Ella Haynes of Armagh in 3rd place. Ahead of 2 more DSD phenoms in Ella O'Donoghue and Grace Prenter. In primary school boys, an early lead for Noah Kavanagh of Beechmount Harriers. But victory would go to Charlie Patterson of East Coast AC, doing the one lap in 5 minutes 52 seconds. 5 seconds out of Nathan Semple of North Down, with Kavanagh in third.
So that's it for the 2016 Antrim International Cross-Country meet. A little bit chillier this year. I need a hot chocolate, I can tell you. I don't know about you watching on at home, but it's been very, very cold. The athletes have warmed everything up though. It's been sensational from that point of view. For myself, Tulsen, Tollett and the rest of the team, till next time, bye-bye.